What laughter. Hello there. Welcome to another live stream. Just delayed the broadcast a few moments while Shelley got herself some pickles. Good pickles. Good pickles. Well, welcome to another live stream. Tonight is something a little bit different. These are recipes I've never made before. So we'll be learning together. And these are all recipes from the Middle Ages. We don't know when exactly they are from, but it's going to be between sort of 900 and 1400, so probably sort of end of the Dark Ages up into the high Middle Ages, I'm guessing. It's pretty hard to tell, but you will find, there's a lot of sort of consistent themes that run through it all. And the reason why we're doing this evening is because I have a new cookbook, the Medieval Cookbook, which Robbie brought. In fact, for those who were here for the last the last stream, which sort of we got a bit sidetracked, but it was good fun. And so Robbie has just returned from Ireland, and he has brought me a medieval cookbook. And to that end, we will cook a bunch of things from it. So these are all, so this is from the British Museum in London. And the idea behind it is that we have the original recipes, largely, and then translated for modern cooks, I suppose. Not necessarily modern palates, but all of the ingredients that we're going to be using obviously are going to be modern, so how close this actually tastes to what it tasted back then, hard to say. Even with the basic ingredients like peas, like the cheese, we're probably, to be sure, it'll probably taste fine. I assume they wouldn't have put together a book like this if it all tasted horrible. So we're going to do mushroom pasties. We're going to do green pea pottage. And then we're going to do rose pudding. If you've never read any Old English before, it's quite difficult. So for example, well, you start to pick up patterns, I suppose. But so for the green pea pottage, which essentially is a pea puree, it's like minced peas, essentially. I'm intending to use it as a side dish, and in fact, you find this in British cuisine. You will have either just straight up pea puree, or mashed peas, or minted peas that go along with pie, or fish and chips. And this recipe is so close to what we use today. Well, if you want to imagine that has jazz, check out Timeline by Michael Crichton, same author as Jurassic Park. So years after, I think 97, I'm going to say, he wrote Timeline, which is basically these historians and anthropologists go back in time to the Dark Ages. I think Billy Connolly's in it for some reason. It was converted to a movie as well. Probably not the best movie in the world, but in fact there would be a copy of it at Cafe 49, I think. So check that out. Mumbo's read it. Yeah, good fun, easy to read, and a lot of sort of what ifs in there.
Has your stream stopped?
Shirley asks, has the stream stopped? Are we experiencing any technical difficulties? Let me check the other monitor. One moment. Yeah, that seems right. Oh, technology. That's all right. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. So yeah, green pea pottage. Take peas and seethe them fast. So when they say seethe, this means boil. All clear here, says Has Jazz, thank you. and core them till they burst. So crush them till they burst. Then take them up and pass them through a cloth. Take onions, mince them, and seep them in the same soup, which I think is water, and the oil therewith. Cast thereto sugar, salt, and saffron, and seethe them well thereafter, and serve them forth. So one thing definitely that you'll find in all of these recipes is at the end, instead of serve and enjoy, it's serve them forth. Yeah, you coming to Jazz's birthday party?
When's her birthday party?
Don't know. Maybe we'll have to live stream it.
I'm going to say yes.
That's good. So I think all things... Wouldn't miss it for the bloody world. I think I'm going to start with the rose pudding because it needs to be chilled. Combined, I think these wouldn't take very long individually, but we're going to be sort of stepping through these bit by bit, having never have cooked them before. Forthwith, post haste. All right. Yeah, and so this is this. I don't have a white rose. This recipe calls for a white rose, and we would blanch the leaves and dry them. I'm just going to have to use rose water for this. And then after saying, oh, well, where the hell do you get a white rose from? On the way down to the shops to pick up the ingredients for the rest of it, I spotted 2 houses that have white roses out the front. And we saw some other houses with white roses.
Perhaps we should steal some.
Perhaps we should.
Perhaps you should live stream that.
Perhaps we would be like poachers. And I can call the stream Poacher's Pantry. And it's all just about going to steal ingredients. Yeah. If it was any other flower, I probably would. But people, yeah, get pretty particular about their roses. We'll see. But since this is just like a trial, I will, when it comes to do it for reals, we will get ourselves a rose. But yeah, for now we will just use rose water.
Lasts a long time, that rose water.
Yeah.
I've had that since Perth, I'm pretty sure.
And it still smells pretty rosy. Yeah. I don't know how much rose water equates to half a white rose, but
Probably not very much.
no. We'll give it a go. Okay, so to start with, we need corn flour, milk, and so this is essentially we're kind of making a corn flour custard, and I'm halving this recipe, so this will make 3 in theory. Sup, ding bottom.
What's up?
What's news in the realm, as they say. This is a trial run, so next dinner we do here. I think these 2 look pretty promising, and the other one I wanted. So I bought a rabbit, so a wild caught rabbit, to make a rabbit pie. I thought that seemed pretty medieval to me. Expensive for what it is. So I'm going to make a slurry out of this corn flour and milk. Never use hot liquids to make a slurry out of corn flour or rice or any other sort of starch flour. Always do it with a little bit of liquid, cold liquid on the side. because it won't work otherwise. I'll tell you that much for free. Ask me how I know. Okay. So we're going to get this slurry into a little saucepan with more milk, and we're going to cook it till it thickens. Small saucepan, very small saucepan. How do I know? Oh yeah, indeed.
How do you know?
Because I've tried a couple of times just winging it and putting it into hot, and then you just get lumpy cornstarch bombs, and then it turns into a glue, and it doesn't blend together very well at all. So now you know too. 1.5 cups, so I'll do half and a bit. Well, that's lucky. I didn't for ages, and then one day I just thought it's like, what do all these cookbooks know? I'm just going to pour it in. There's a reason. There's a reason why they say it. Alright, so let's get this on a low heat. God damn, yes, hob. I'm going to be pretty cautious with this, I think. Slow and steady wins the battle for the crown. Wooden spoon. And this is very similar to, if you're making a sauce for a stir fry, corn flour and liquid, obviously not milk for a stir fry. At least none of the recipes I've ever read call for milk. Alright, so we put that on low heat and stir it until it starts to thicken. Okay, and then I'd want, because this is the modern interpretation. It says, turn it into the goblet of an electric blender. I don't know if I've never called or never heard a container of an electric blender being called a goblet before. And I'm going to use this little wazzer. The goblet.
I can't believe that they're using a modern machine in the recipe.
Well, this is the modern, so we have, at the top is the original, and then we have a modern version of it.
So what would they have done in the olden times?
They would have we would have seethed the milk.
Oh, right.
We would cast thereto the sugar, a good portion of pines, dates, minced, powdered ginger, and seethe that. And oil it with flowers of white roses and flour of rice. Cool it, salt it, and mess it forth. If that will, instead of almond milk, take sweet cream of keen. That's the one we weren't sure about. I don't know. I'm not a...
Oh yeah, but didn't it might have been wine?
Yeah, it could be wine. I never know what these wacky medieval guys are up to. And so we're bringing this up to a simmer to have it thicken, essentially. It's smooth now. I feel like it's going to go a bit lumpy, which is fine because we're going to be putting it into a food processor. But it should thicken up significantly. Corn flour doesn't really taste like anything. Did I change the camera? Yes. So we're not doing this like for the same reason we would make a roux this way. We're not really trying to cook any of the raw flour flavour out because it doesn't really have much of that. It's just that once the heat in the liquid reaches a certain temperature, the starch starts to coagulate, and it's starting to go right now, as you can see. And here, yeah, okay, so here come the lumps. Yep. And how quickly does that happen? It's amazing. And so we're going to get a paste, essentially. So milk cornstarch paste. Cool. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to turn the heat off and just keep moving it. Okay, so far so good. Kind of reminds me of which dumpling wrapper is it? So that sort of glossy.
Like bao.
Yeah, not bao. Oh, I forget the name.
What do you mean?
Yeah, similar to a shoe.
Well,
I can't remember the name. So we'll just put that to one side. Yeah, medieval blender. They come with goblets. All right, so into that we are going to turn into the goblet, sugar, spices, and rose petals, and then blend it in. So, so the rose. Well, I'm just going to say a splash. Whoa. I wonder if this was a dish served during the War of the Roses.
what year was that?
It would have been, yeah, what is that? Like, 14 something, I'm going to say. House of, okay, well, for 10 points, which two sides in the War of Roses? If Dingbottom was here, he'd be able to tell you, or he should be able to tell you.
England?
Yeah, why? Like family houses, essentially, like lineage. What would you call them? Dynastic houses. Lancaster, yep.
York?
Has someone put that in the chat? Oh, there you go.
You're the
Bloody
most
medieval
polite person
historian
at
over
saying,
here.
How the hell would you know that?
And then for a bonus 10 points then, Shelley, which is the white roses and which is the red roses. Stop it, I'm trying to make this damn dish.
Is Lancaster white?
Probably.
Oh. Don't you know?
I'm just waiting for Dingbottom to say I don't want to. What are the spices? What are we talking about here? Ginger and cinnamon. Because then I think the colours then play into... So Jacobian, I think, is red. I'll Google it if he doesn't. So I want, what have I got here? Ginger. I want about 1/4 teaspoon. And then of cinnamon, about half.
Doesn't might rain.
Oh, again,
Very briefly, if it does at all.
just doesn't quit.
That's one Nimbot for you.
That's Lahaz jazz.
Well, it has a jazz.
All right. So in goes our. Uh-oh.
Looks very creamy.
Yeah. And it's going to get even more creamy when I add the cream.
The cream of cream.
Yep. The cream of Lancaster. The cream of York. York is white, Lancaster is red.
Oh.
Yeah, and that, for some reason I'm thinking that Lancastrian, not movement, but like that, does that turn into a Jacobean thing later on down the line? Because I associate Jacobean Protestant with red for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna
Is
put.
that why the queen was painting the roses? Get rid of
No. Oh, well, not to my knowledge. Perhaps.
Otherwise, why wouldn't she just use red roses? Other than to eliminate white ones.
That's a good question. Okay, so we're going to waz this. Waz it in the goblet.
Where's yes?
In the Lancastrian goblet. To be honest, I think you could do, I could have just done it in a pot. I'm just curious at this point, so... Oh, that needed the sugar as well. That explains it. I would just do this in a pot rather than an electric goblet. You know what? That's going to be my medieval metal band name. Electric Goblet. That's good. And then the support band can be the Lancasters. And their support can be the Paisley ties. 25 grams of sugar. I think, yeah.
Ye old grams.
Ye olde grams? No. Modern grams. Instagrams. Okay, that looks like a nice little pudding. So what do we need now? We need cream. One and a bit cups of cream. And a bit of salt. Comrade Yuri, how could a medieval peasant measure 5 grams? Also, hello. Hello and welcome. Secondly, good question. And you'll find, all of these recipes, the original, don't specify any.
What does the original say for ingredients?
It doesn't. So it gives you the ingredients, but never the measurements. So it says, take thy milk and seethe it. Cast thereto sugar, a good portion of pine, so pine nuts. So a good portion. It's kind of like, the closest equivalent I can think of is like a pinch, which is a stupid term. But yeah, you would never. A handful or a measure or whatever. But no, never would you have actual measurements in any of the recipes. And that goes as so until up until the 17th century, really. Because there's two reasons. One, people that are doing the cooking can't read anyway, and two, they're taught, so you sort of know by the time that you're doing this for a good reason, you know what would go into it. So a lot of your knowledge, you know, is when we say take milk and seethe it, or if I say rose pudding, you know what the consistency is, or you've been told what it is, and so you make it. But that said, I think you'd be hard pressed to find particularly consistent dishes in this time. Yeah, and it makes it very hard, because if you look at, so we did the ancient Roman. Well, let's get Apicius or Apicius. The lentils dish that we did, for example. I mean, when you go further back, when you go into antiquity, you sort of get it. In some instances, is a bit easier because they can talk in wholes. So, like a sow's womb, the udder, tails and feet. That's not a measurement; it's a unit, I guess. But yeah. So, a sauce for wild goat: pepper, lovage, caraway, cumin, parsley, honey, mustard, vinegar, broth, and oil. That's all the recipe is. To taste. Yuri, do you cook? And are you from Russia? And what brings you here? So we are being particular, and the reason why I'm being quite cautious here is because I want to give it the best chance to actually taste halfway decent. Otherwise I'm going to be hungry. So we want one and a bit. I mean, a lot of this stuff you'd be happy to have it in any form whatsoever, frankly.
I never thought about whipping cream in the wazza like that. It would actually do it in like record time.
Let's hope so. A pinch of salt.
Are you wazzing?
I'm wazzing it, yes.
Like, is it gonna get smooth? Like.
Yeah, I want it to combine, but I do want it to aerate a little bit as well. We're going to find out together in this modern goblet. Yuri says he has, or they have always wanted to learn cooking by making historical dishes. Oh man, you've come. You're a fake Russian. You love history. Excellent. Well then, right off the bat, so the two there. So this, I have a range of books. Generally, I do modern cooking here, but just sometimes I get a bit carried away. So we'll do medieval, we'll do Roman and Greco-Roman, and then colonial American is generally the three sort of historical things that I will cook. But yeah, hey, well, if you want for more references, jump into the Discord if you have it or care enough to, because I put links and bits and bobs in there. So we've got our cream, our salt. We're going to wazz it. And have a look there. That's nice.
Does it get baked?
Chilled, no. Some weird sort of an anise thing happening there. All right. I think it might be the old rose water. All right, so we've fully blended, add the cream and salt, turn it into a... Okay, so we'll cook it again below the boil until the consistency is softly whipped. Okay, and then we need the dates and the pine nut kernels. So this is another one, so like dried fruit and nuts, hugely, well, a lot cheap. I think here's the irony, isn't it? Like, so these pine nuts, probably cheaper back then than they are now. And the fruit especially, certainly not reserved for sweet dishes. Something like dried fruits in meat dishes is common back then. So let's get the pot. I'm maybe more than cautiously optimistic at this stage. I feel like this will be all right. I'm glad I didn't put any more rose water in. And I do wonder, you might even get a bit of, if we had used an actual white rose, some texture. I guess it depends on how much you waz it in the goblet. But yeah, that's something to play around with. And to be honest, now that I think about it, I'm not sure why the white rose is so important, except for maybe just for the colour.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really, really sort of like finely chopped red rose petals and mixed it in at the end.
Garnish it with some crystallized rose petals.
Some crystallized purpose. All right, let's put this on a really low heat. Why? And so we're going for, I'm halving the recipe, so we're looking for about 5 dates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then half a tablespoon of pine nuts. We'll just mince these first. I finally, because every time I open the fridge, I look at these dates have been in there for a while. I'm like, just got to do something with these, and then I never do. Now I have. But yeah, so you have dates, plums. So these are sort of more hardy stone fruits, preserved very well, high sugar content. Some pectin, not too much malic acid, and they would, perfect for storing in a domestic sort of market sense, and then in a trade kind of sense as well. But there's obviously a Moorish connection here. Let's just keep an eye on this. Where's my spoon? Dates and then pine nuts. I'll just put a couple aside to garnish. Yeah, I think these were like, because what are we talking, 300 grams. It's probably towards $30 a kilo for pine nuts. Which is fine. I was watching a video on how they're harvested, produced and harvested. A lot of Chinese, a lot of Korean farms, and yeah, man, it would be a. I'm glad they're. I'm happy to pay the premium. Is the point. So below the boil, I don't want this to boil and split. Okay. And then I think that's. You don't think you've even tried pine nuts? They're good. So we use the reason why I have them is I did there's a Roman dessert. It's like a pine nut and honey tart. A classic Roman dessert, kind of a custard nut tart. They taste like they're quite sweet, And then you do get a little bit of, it's not like smelling a Christmas tree, but there is that little bit of pinus that sort of comes through there. Yeah, so all this is doing is these are going in. And then I'm going to turn off the heat. What sort of historical cuisine would you cook, Yuri, if it ever happened? Do not used to eat pine nuts straight from pine cones. When he was being raised in the woods by wolves. Maybe you're like the Australian Romulus or Remus. Raised by a she-wolf milk and pine nuts straight from the pine cone. Alright, I'm turning the heat off this. And we're just gonna, I just want to keep it moving just a little bit. Anything that you were connected to the past? Yep. The good, I think the thing about historical cooking is, and I'm going to assume that you know the YouTube channel Tasting History with Max Miller. If you don't, check him out because he's hilarious, and it's very well researched stuff. Yeah, I would. So the next two things on my list are either Native American or Native Australian. With Australian Aboriginal cuisine, it's a little bit hard because. So, you know, a lot of the traditional meats are hard to come by, or you can't get them at all. But emu, for example, we could. Crocodile, yes. Kangaroo, yes. Wild boar, and so I got this wild caught rabbit the other day. Wild boar venison, obviously, is not Australian, but as a pest here. But yeah, wild boar. That's interesting. Is Yuri from Gaul? Yarralumla had plenty of pine trees. Okay, so that's all we need to do now is put them in glasses and chill them. Kentucky. Oh, you've because you've got the storms there, the tornadoes yesterday. I hope all is still intact. Another viewer of this channel was showing me she had got bison meatloaf. There's a Middle America meat for you. So we're going to put these. Yeah, it looked full on because we do get little.
We get cyclones.
Yeah.
But not tornadoes usually.
Yeah, not normally. It can happen, but like more
Once
like
every couple of years.
Yeah, but not like American tornadoes, because wasn't there one that happened in Brisbane a little while ago?
They usually happen in the northern Queensland coast. Like Cyclone Yazi.
Yep.
And all those that were really terrible.
Yeah, so we get like coastal cyclones, sort of hurricane. Well, yes, there's another non-clementia question for you. The difference between a cyclone and a hurricane. But yeah, it looked pretty serious.
Isn't it like the difference of hot versus cold air
Oh,
and what happens to it?
I don't know. You know what, this can be just 2, I think. Oh, steady. Now I'm going to assume that they wouldn't have had Kmart glassware in the Middle Ages.
Would they have used electric outlets?
Yeah, well, it would have been either it probably would have been in a large serving dish. And then to chill it, how do you chill that? You put it in the cellar.
In the snow that they would have to walk in to get to school.
Yeah. Kmart in Australia is different. What?
Kmart is like the most popular thing. It's actually like overridden other retailers. Like Target, it's more popular than Target.
Yeah, I think the Australian Kmart is like it's kind of like how we have Woolworths and they've got a Woolworths, I think.
No, it's the same company.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's just that it's bigger over here for some reason.
Yeah.
But I like
Shelley does love a good Kmart deal.
most people. I don't even understand they don't.
Only the fools. The fools. Yeah, Kentucky. It's just making me think of bourbon. All right, I'm happy with how this has gone. So we're just going to put some additional dates on top. Whoop, that one's getting away. And then pine nuts. So I'll taste it. I'm gonna, like, it probably would make sense to chill this for an extended period of time, but we don't have that. So we're just going to put these in the fridge for now and get on with the actual. Yeah, I'll do a bit of a close-up. It smells good. It tastes. Yeah. It tastes all right.
That was just corn flour, milk, and cream.
Corn flour, milk, cream, rose, sugar, salt, dates, and pine nuts. Courtesy of the 1400s. Okay. Could a peasant chill it? Yeah, well, that's the thing. So, like, no, they don't really have access to ice. At least not, obviously not consistently. Just, yeah, cold cellars, water cooled. So, like, evaporative cooling. If you think of, like, meat storage in, I've forgotten the word of them now, like meat lockers that are designed to, like, flow air through. Actually, we used to have one at Aranda. Mum will know. And yeah, it's designed kind of like an evaporative cooler, a swamp cooler they call them in the US, so just using water and moving air to cool the temperature. But other than that, yeah, it would just be sort of put it in the coolest spot you can find in the castle. I assume. Yep, they might have made it in the winter and plonked it in the snow. Don't know how long cream would have lasted, but maybe it was a winter dish. These are all questions I can't answer, I'm afraid. All right. So that's that. That's chilling. Let's get on with the main affair. Because snow was a ice, quite a prestigious prestigious thing. And we often think of, like, and so you'll get frost and things, but when we think of England, you know, obviously it snows, but when we picture, at least in Australia, we picture a very Dickinsonian London. So like just this heavy snow and ice and everything everywhere, and it's not really how it was or is. And I don't know, I've never been to London during the winter, and it's certainly cold, but like it's not like necessarily you're going to be able to go and dig large amounts of clean ice out. I'm not an ice scientist though. Winter is for hot food, for stews, rabbit pie, which we'll do soon. I've never cooked a full rabbit before. All right.
I'm excited about these.
So normally I'd make the pastry on these streams, but just because we're experimenting tonight.
Why it's not pastry?
Yeah, short crust.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we could do a range of, you know, I don't know if short crust is necessarily, what's the, like the hot water pastry, hot water crust pastry. That would probably do well. So we're making mushroom pasties now. So now this is interesting. So this is, in theory, French, and this is something I've never done to mushrooms before. So the Goodman of Paris says mushrooms of one night are the best, i.e., you know, pick the day before. If they're small, red inside, these aren't, and closed at the top, they should be peeled and then washed in hot water and parboiled. If you wish to put them in a pastry lid, in a pastry, add oil, cheese, and spice powder. So what we're going to do is blanch the mushrooms, which I've never done before. Whoa. I'm also not going to cut the stems off, because in this day and age, this is like one of the differences that we're talking about here. It's absolutely not necessary. So this is on full.
So they're going whole.
They're going whole.
Well, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. So, but
in the pasty, they stay whole.
no, we're going to blanch them, take them out, drain them, chop them up. I can't for the life of me think of why this would make much of a difference. But here we are. Salted water. Yep. Parboiling is indeed. You know, I don't need a food fact bot. We've got ding bottom.
Ding bottom.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's good. Some classic Shelley humour there. Don't be afraid about the amount of salt that we are adding here. So yes, I'm not sure why parboiling would make a difference. So we're doing half of this. We are talking 225 grams then of mushrooms. Shelley's going for the dates. Sands 2. Screw it, we'll use them all. And then we need a bowl. My new glass mixing bowls from Amazon are stuck somewhere in the supply chain and Christmas nightmare that is the postage system. Yeah. That's right.
Magellan's got some nice glass foils.
No.
They've got a little ball rim around the top.
Oh.
Very nice.
Some sort of a slotted spoon. Makes me want to learn another food fact.
Apparently dates are meant to be tasty with peanut butter.
Yeah, I believe it. Yep.
I'm going to try that some.
Ah, yes. Vanilla plantifolia.
What's the food fact?
That vanilla is an orchid.
No. I knew that.
Mm. And as soon as you see the flowers, you're like, oh yeah. It's like with pineapples. You look at the top of them, you're like, oh, that's a bromeliad. Now that you mention it. So a tablespoon of olive oil. 25 grams of cheese. Now I've got this oak smoked cheddar.
It's a bloody tasty sensation.
Is it a medieval thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, but that makes sense to me. All right. So we're about to, for the first time, what does dried date and peanut butter taste like? Yeah, that's good. Think like peanut butter jelly, peanut butter and banana sandwiches. So interesting. Dingbottom suggests they probably diced the cheese with a sword back in the day. Without a doubt. I don't have my claymore with me. Or my dirk. So we're going to have to do without, I'm afraid. That's boiling. So let's get these in. And we're not looking for... This is so weird. All right, so... I guess we're just blanching these things.
Maybe it's to boil out some of the impurities.
Yeah, it could be to clean. How strange. Once it hits a rolling boil, I'll check them out. Now that I've mentioned claymore, I'm thinking, yeah, I never got around to, we had that, there is a haddock, a smoked haddock recipe in here, and I can't remember the Scottish word for the haddock, like chowder, essentially, that soup. But yeah, oat cakes, oat biscuits. I've been meaning to do a Scottish stream. Yeah.
Oh, that's Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe a moment more. Oh dear.
What?
No, it's an odd thing to do. All right, so I'm looking for 25 grams of this oak smoked cheddar, which I think will add something to this. It was an impulse purchase.
It sounds medieval.
It does sound medieval. Because smoking as a preservation technique, obviously you've got pickling, smoking, drying.
Salty.
Yep. Yep, that will do. Cool. Actually, so I'm going to say these are parboiled. In fact, I can smell the shrooms. So we're going to.
Take the liquid?
No. It's not what they did back in the day.
Could have used it as a stock base.
Yeah, mushroom broth. Next time. Yeah, well, that's what happens, isn't it, Dingbottom? I don't think. Because we know psychedelics and other.
Opium.
Yeah, opium. When would other. Actually, don't know too much about the history of drugs. I feel like the Egyptians would have had something to do with it. But obviously, alcohol is the first. And then where do you go from there?
To bed.
Yeah, to bed. Okay. Actually, I haven't run an ad this whole time. This is going quite smoothly. I'm quite pleased. Native American cultures indulge. Yeah, peyote. That's right. Because you can. Some of them can get a license to grow it for the sort of ritual purposes. I feel like cannabis, originally for hemp, I think cultivated largely for sort of industrial reasons. Yeah, it's just made me realise I don't know very much about it. I will do some research. Yeah, that's right. I don't think we've got too much of that in indigenous culture here. As far as I know, there's not too much plant-wise that's particularly psychotropic that's native to this continent. Plenty of like venomous and poisonous things, but not that you would take for a sort of ritualistic or a cultural purpose. I don't think, but I'm not an expert, so I'll get back to you on that one. All right, let's let the oven warm up. We run an ad, we come back. Stay tuned. thank you for the follow. Are you cooking and watching my live? I'm cooking and watching. Oh, I see. I know what happened here. Somebody cashed in their Academy Impossible social credits. But, so the answer is yes. I didn't mean to, but I am, and I will continue to. And thanks for the follow. Towards the end of the stream, I'm going to steal that audience off you and raid back the other way. I think Academy Impossible is pretty cool. I just wonder if it sort of just gets gamed a bit, but I guess that's the point. Yeah, Minecraft. It's a bloody winner. And I just realized, yeah, so both of you, so Yuri and Cantaloupe followed, and for some reason it's not doing my light show. It should every time someone follows. I will. You think you've got it all set up, and then this is what happens. I can't hear you, no. I've got it's muted down here. Too many audio sources in my setup. But I can see you, absolutely. So we're going to mince these blanched mushrooms. Not too fine, I feel. I think Minecraft's something that it's the gift that keeps on giving, that game. It's a bloody winner. Alright, so... Oh yeah, and you're just joining us. So we're stepping through. These are recipes I've not done before. Not ever, actually. So we're taking it slow, but we're getting there. So we have... Slice them, oil, cheese and seasonings. Okay, so we have our tablespoon of oil here. We have our mushrooms. We've got mushroom water on the wall. Thank you. Do you cook? Yeah, that's right. So you're genuinely a random connection. What did you have for dinner? Or what will you have for dinner? Salt and pepper. And the cheese. Yeah, I'm asking what you had. What was on the menu? Here is our oak smoked cheddar. Pepper. And salt. Macaroni and chicken patty. That sounds good.
It does sound good, actually.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to do that next stream. It's the other reason why I like cooking live is that you get some random people from all over the damn place. And it gives me ideas. Yeah, cheese and broccoli soup is the most recent example. Okay. And then another macaroni, and then a popsicle, and then crackers. What's your favourite flavour of popsicle? Get mushroom juice everywhere. Banana. Interesting. Because it's a divisive one.
I would put that in my top two.
Shelley would put that. Yeah, we were talking about
Billabongs.
no, paddle pops.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Puddle.
Pogera. Frosty Whip is here. Hello. We're making some medieval bits and bobs. So at the moment we're making mushroom pasties. We've just done a rose custard, and then we're going to make some pottage peas. So all of these recipes are going to be from between 900 to 1400. So yeah, I'm going to say like 12th century or something like that. And then Frosty, banana flavoured ice cream. Where do you stand? What do we need to know? How does it make you feel? Oh, that's good. Hashtag small streamers. What was I doing?
Pining the peas henceforth.
Oh yes. Serve them forth.
Serve them.
So
Cool them. Seethe them.
seed them well.
Strike them down by the Lord.
Strike them down, and they'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine. I need little. I'm thinking maybe. Do you reckon ramekins?
You all ever been to the Big Banana? Of course we've been to the Big Banana. Yuri is asking. How does Yuri know about the Big Banana?
Oh, everyone knows about. That's what Australia's famous for.
What?
Yeah.
How could you have not? It's in Coffs Harbour.
No, I haven't been to the Big Banana.
I've been there like 10 times.
She just loves the Big Banana.
Well,
Aw.
it's the halfway point between where I grew up and where some of my family lived.
What
on
a
the drive.
what a banana lover.
So you always know when you go past the Big Banana that you're like already halfway through the journey. And if your parents were feeling nice, you would stop there and get a frozen banana on a stick with chocolate. Yeah,
There's
and it's just heaps of banana plantations.
Yep.
And then a big ass banana.
That's how it goes. Hey Siri, play the Minecraft Volume Beta soundtrack. No, I haven't.
Have you been to the Big Pineapple?
I've been to the Big Merino, the Big Cheese,
The Big Prawn?
the Big Prawn.
You have been to the
Where's the Big Prawn again?
in Ballina.
Yeah, I've been to the
Just
Big Prawn.
over the border.
Yeah. Where's the pineapple?
Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, Big Pineapple.
You've been there?
Yeah, I feel like I have.
Did you have a parfait?
No.
Did you go on the train
No.
through the plantations?
I didn't go all that way to go on a train. I went there to see the pineapple.
Did you go up in the pineapple?
No. And
What?
I've been, so the only one I've been into the Big Merino, which recently, just FYI for all those who are concerned, it was moved a couple of years ago. It still exists, but it's not on the same road it used to be. It's just a big gift shop, really. Ding Bottom's been to the Big Merino, good. Yuri's, we are all over the damn place.
That's Australia for you.
That's right.
Big ass place.
You've got to go all over the place if you're going to go to all of the big things. But no Big Banana. And
Pasty's never been to any big monument.
well, you haven't lived. Big on big. So the most disappointing big. What's the crappest big?
The Big Prawn.
Oh, then you haven't been to the Big Cheese then, have you?
Oh no, I haven't been to the Big Cheese. No.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Well, the Big Prawn I thought is like, oh, the Big Prawn, but then it's not that big. And
Yeah.
it's like a service station.
Yeah. Well, the Big Cheese is just like this weather-worn metal barrel that was painted yellow, like in the 80s.
And it's not even shaped like a piece of cheese.
But it's like a cheese round. It's just a
Oh,
barrel that's painted yellow.
Right.
It's like, here's your big cheese. And then, but that was in the 80s, and now it's just the yellow chips off, and you can see the welds or like the rivet marks.
Where is it?
Bigger.
Oh.
Cheese territory. Big cheese territory is bigger. So I guess the point for those who are not in Australia, I wouldn't plan your whole trip around going to the big things. Chicken and waffles stream. That sounds American. That sounds American to me. Chicken and waffles.
It's really good. With maple syrup.
It's just this weird mash between dessert and like main meal. I guess you get it over and done with all in one.
But it's like having salty, crispy, fried stuff with sweet. That goes well together.
I'm sure it does. Have to get me a waffle iron. Cantaloupe's mum has been all over the US. And Yuri has been to Australia. What?
But of all places, you went to Coffs Harbour.
Oh, the big, and then the Big Apple. I.e. New York. You know, I wonder if there's a Big Apple in Batlow or something.
Yes.
All right, we have our short crust pastry.
Are you putting them in ramekins?
I'm thinking ramekins. Do you think that'll be all right? Yep.
I don't see them.
Just let them defrost a little bit more. Drive up
Wow.
the East Coast from Sydney to Townsville.
That's
Yep.
a long drive.
Mm.
That's like a good couple of days.
Mm. That would have been an experience. It's bloody hot up there. It's bloody hot here. 22 degrees.
That's not that hot at all.
No, it's been really quite mild.
It's going to be hot this week though.
It's been raining. It's been raining so much. Broken some records.
It's going to be like 28 this week.
It's going to be really humid, which is very rare for Canberra. So here we will have rain. We do get rain in the spring. A lot of wind, a lot of rain. But there's been a lot of rain. And now it's going to heat up. And so normally it's either very hot and dry or very cold and dry. But now it's going to feel like Townsville. Maybe we need to get a big something and put it at the front of the house. Cantaloupe's going from Ohio to Louisiana. There is a Big Apple in Batlow. They do cherries out there as well, I'm pretty sure. Maybe you need the big cherry. So Louisiana is on the list. Had it not been for COVID, perhaps we would have been there by now. Eat us some gumbo. Ohio. Makes me think of Drew Carey.
It makes me think of Third Rock from the Sun.
Makes me think of Presidents of the United States of America, the band. I'm a bit nervous about this. You know, I'm going to spray these. Yeah, we're going to have this done within the hour easily. If I had to do this medieval as a medieval feast for a visiting king, no worries. No worries, Muriel. A whole wrap. Well, I'm trying to hang on. I'll do you I can't load your stream for some reason. Oh, there it is. All right, Cantaloupe, I'll follow you. Are you spitting straight from the top of your dome when you rap, or is this a premeditated? Just gonna get Shelley's opinion on this. Do you think it needs to be warmer?
The pastry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Isn't it about to cut itself open?
Yeah.
What's the word?
I don't know, but like, it's not as flexible as I was anticipating.
Yeah, so give it a moment.
We'll give it a moment. Yep, followed, I think. Yes. We ain't got time for this. Oh, steady.
It'll also mold back together.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I caught up with a friend of mine from high school who makes music, does a bit of rapping. Recently. Recently followed a guy who a complete disconnect between things, but so pinball is a hobby of mine / ours, and we have this Jurassic Park pinball machine, and there was a kid who did this like epic software mod for it, and it's incredible. Like, this is someone who loves Jurassic Park, all the music, all the cutscenes, everything. And then I was talking to him for a bit, and yeah, he's from LA and he's a musician. He just he just put out an album recently. It's kind of like, what would you call it? Like friendly rap, you know?
Like Will Smith?
Kind of like Will Smith, but maybe more. It's not like necessarily family friendly. It's just like like positive, I suppose. It's not conflict oriented. It's it's not violent. It's about like the one because he obviously has pinball machines, and so the film clip that he did. So the single's called Fireflies. Tim Styles is the guy's name. The whole song is about childhood memories, I guess, and like good memories as fireflies, and like trying to catch them in a jar. Yeah. That's not to say I've got anything against like negative rap. I think Ebonics is an interesting cultural phenomenon. Not something I listen to all that often. Kind of thinking of when Cypress Hill is playing with the London Symphony Orchestra. Marge was, this I like. All right, this is looking good. Are you quick? Oh, wait, hang on. This laptop is so slow, I can't bloody load. But you know, on my list of things to do, Cantaloupe is co-stream. So you can show me your macaroni patties, and I'll do, I don't know what. Yeah, just I am gonna format this laptop. It's just dying. I'll be up for it for sure. We have the concept stalled, but I did do a tech demo to link two streams together through this one. Actually, next week we will be doing an in-person co-stream with Robbie. We're going to do
Yes, indeed.
a drunken gingerbread build competition. So Robbie and I will be sitting over there. It'll be live streamed. We will have the same ingredients, the same kit, and we will be drinking cocktails and
Eggnog,
mulled wine, and making gingerbread houses. And at the end, we'll put it out to chat as to who won. And then Shelley also gets to cast a vote. She's kind of like the vice president in the Senate. She can do the tiebreaker. So that's coming up.
Harris.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Cantaloupe. I can't see it either. It's microwavable, so it'll be short. Hello, Sooty. Hello, are you a medieval cat? How would have you done during the War of the Roses? Who would have fed you wet food? The king? The king? Would you be the court jester?
You'd be a squire.
Mm.
A young go-getting squire. On a mission to become a knight.
I think that's right. Now that I'm doing this, I realise that I should have put more time into decorating it. That's the other thing about the medieval dishes, at least for feasts and sort of more the upmarket, is not necessarily the ingredients, although spices is really what sort of represents the difference between you and a peasant. But the elaborateness, I don't like them, makes the difference. The king's cat probably ate very well. Well, Sooty eats pretty well. Oh, he just got freaked out by the dishwasher, which opens itself.
He's very intrigued.
What is this black magic in medieval times?
Hooray!
Huzzah! Now we just need an egg wash. And then all these are just going to cook for, I think it was 15 minutes. Then we just do the peas, and then we're done. This is an easy win. An easy win, chums. Yeah, once with an egg. And don't let me forget, I have bread to put on. For the love of all things, House of Lancaster, don't let me forget it. Because last time I did, and then I came out in the morning and it was just out of control. Welcome back, Cantaloupe. I am reloading your stream. All right, your restart. I see. That's interesting. Are you doing that on purpose, or have you just like forgotten which monitor you're using?
No, he wants you to turn on the thing and do the thing.
The what?
The audio and do it together.
Go and do it together. Egg wash. Doing what? Oh, I was looking at your streams, and now I can see my stream. I thought you were streaming Minecraft, and that wasn't coming through. Oh, I see. I get it. I think. What an unconventional approach. Yeah, but we can set this up in OBS to... What do you use to stream? Oh, this is making me tired. Yeah, Roblox. That's a Solon and his family, his kids into that. Pies are ready to bake. Well, don't speak too soon, Yuri, because we haven't tasted any of this yet. Alright, so the last recipe now is we are going to look at the pea, essentially a pea puree. So we want, well, I'll read it to you. Take the peas and seed them fast and crush them till they burst. Then take them up and push them through a cloth. Take onions and mince them and seethe them in the same water and oil, and cast sugar, salt, saffron, and seethe them well thereafter, and serve them forth. And you
What's in it?
peas and onions.
No garlic or anything.
No garlic or anything, no. I can't turn it up here, Cantaloupe. Yeah, I think Frosty, you'd be hard pressed. You wouldn't be getting your chicken and your waffles. But Cantaloupe, if you give me, hello. I have a very specific setup in OBS, but absolutely we can do this, but I can't do it from the kitchen. You're a hard man to please, Frosty Whips.
Things of that nature.
We can soon, yeah, for sure. I've got ideas. All right, so for this recipe, we are cutting everything in half. So we are looking for 375 grams of garden peas. We have peas, and for those who are new here, we do occasionally go out into the garden to harvest fresh produce, but the peas are not ready just yet. So we do have to use, that's maybe too many. Frozen peas today, but that's all right. I'll have to have a look at how you sent, like, I have, so like all my audio is routed through Banana Meter. I'd have to have a think about it. But yeah, it's absolutely something. Next stream, like if you give me a clue as to what you're going to microwave.
After this recipe, we're going to eat it.
Yeah. We'll have dinner. Dinner. But yeah, absolutely doable.
Alright. Hello, Wendy. Hello.
We want 350 grams of, so that would be 125 grams of onion, so that'll be about one. Because I don't use the microwave too much in cookery, which isn't to say that I couldn't.
I like using it to make boiled potatoes.
Boiled potatoes.
If I was to cook something in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or melting chocolate. They're probably the only, like,
Yeah, melting chocolate.
besides reheating something already made.
Yeah, that's a good kitchen hack for you. None of this tempering your or melting your chocolate over a double bowl. Just do it in the microwave. It's cat combat down here. The best fish is salmon, yes. And so actually, the other recipe I was going to do tonight was there is a salmon recipe in this book as well. So you can hear Whitey. Just FYI.
Wingy.
Wingy McCow.
Mrs. Ming.
Mrs. Ming. Cantaloupe's never had fish. It's. I think you're going to get it if you're going to Louisiana, or you could anyway. Get some crawdads. Get a seafood.
Jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, jumbo shrimp. A seafood boil.
Oh yeah. When are you doing the seafood boil?
I don't know.
Let's get onto that.
Oh yeah. Well, he's had crustacean.
Seafood boil for the Christmas party.
Oh. I'm going to fairly finely mince this onion. Although it may not matter too much because I'm gonna pulse it in the food processor.
I think my favourite fish is like white fish.
Mm-hmm.
Of any kind.
Mm.
Probably the nicer of the white fish, but I like that more than salmon.
I think salmon is my favourite. So we're going to put in about 3 cups of water. 1, 2. That will do.
Well, Frosty Whips, what's the secret to a good seafood boil? If you like all that jazz. I see him, you know the wonders.
Cod is, yeah, you're right, Yuri. Cod's a good sort of fairly neutral kind of fish you got going on there.
Yeah, the best fish and chips we used to have at a time was called the Codfather.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was really good.
What does it mean?
You'd go to the Codfather. It was like the Godfather, but the Codfather.
Is that the restaurant?
No, like a fish and chip takeaway. The Codfather.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, next door you'd have the Lobster Mobster. Oh, I'm going to clip that because that's a Bob joke. Robbie's going to like that. Wobbies. Lobster Mobster Bobbies. Alright. Enough of that nonsense. Going in with the peas.
Something about swimming with the fishes.
Yeah. Onion. Bring that I'm going to bring it to a gentle kind of boil. Obviously I want the peas to thaw. Chips? You missed the fish and chip stream. Yeah.
That was good.
I think what we'll do sometime soon is a proper Heston triple cook chip thing, but it'll take a couple of days. Question is, how much energy do you want to put into making a fry?
They are good though.
Yeah, recipe is in Discord. It's on my site as well. Get it up, yeah. I think fried fish is a good way to get into fish in the first place. Okay, so that's on gently, quite soft. Puree them. And season before. Is this missing a step, I think? Bring the water to the boil, tip in the peas, onions, saffron. Sieve both the liquid and the solids into... Oh, okay, so this is just... So we're going to use brown sugar and salt as seasoning after we've pureed it. That's fine. And I do want the onions to cook a fair bit. Like, we don't really want the sort of raw, acrid ness to it. And just looking at the overall liquid amount, I might drain some out as well. Well, and so like that might be part of why I like salmon. It's not too fishy. It tastes like, yeah,
Salmon tastes like air.
cheap, like real basic salmon. Yeah, it doesn't actually, yeah, taste like much. I think that's what he's saying. Cantaloupes worked out how to copy and paste.
Oh well.
It's moved into the 21st century. Sanders lad, I don't think is here, but he.
He's a salmon maniac.
Yeah, he's more like the salmon lad. I'm gonna say. Okay. All right, this is going to come up to a very gentle simmer. We're going to let that sit just for a little bit. We'll puree it. And we're going to get the pies in now, I reckon. The oven is on at 180 degrees, which I assume is what it called for. Oven temperatures, just watch it. Oh, it says 200 degrees. Okay, well, we can do that. Yeah. It's controversial. Oh, and so the next question, raw salmon or cooked salmon?
Yeah, I prefer it cooked, like the teriyaki salmon.
Teriyaki salmon, yes. I'd eat it raw every opportunity. I reckon I'm like a little brown bear, a little black bear. Or is it brown bears? What are the ones in the US? You know how they catch them out of the stream and go... That's what I'd do. That's how I'd live my life. Just get a little tray. That's loud. Okay. Pies. Pies go in oven. Yep, raw for sure, Yuri. You're on the right side of history. Cool. How are we doing for time? 1 hour and 46 minutes, and we've smashed out 3 recipes that I've never done before. So this is good. Eat it cooked, and then if it's yeah. So I think sashimi is where I got into salmon. Didn't really eat a huge amount of fish before I started eating sushi back in the day. I've been kind of tempted to get a sashimi knife. I have some nice knives. But before that, I think a cleaver. Not that we like cook much meat these days, but like cook a fair bit of Asian cuisine, and so mincing stuff, dumplings, so on and so forth, makes me want a wackadoo. All right, we're going to let that go for about 5 minutes and come back and check on the progress. Yeah, no worries, Cantaloupe. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon for sure. Thank you for stopping by, without a doubt. Without a damn doubt. All right, BRB. are back. Indeed. Now I promised myself I wouldn't forget doing the bread, which is not for tonight, necessarily. And we're going to do it now. Because it needs to rise in the tin. The trick with bread, patience. It takes a long time, but not much effort. It's my, which is a good way to cook, I reckon. Gonna turn the heat off the peas and just let that sit for the moment. And the other thing about bread, I would say, is looking for a dough that is fairly moist. I think that is a key step to success. And I don't think it's worth getting too precious about rolling or folding it, and I'll show you what I mean. So this, I haven't kneaded this again. I'm not forming it into a proper round. And the reason why I'm not doing it is because when it rises, it's going to fill itself out. Like, you got to trust in the dough, I reckon. Trust in the damn dough. So this is a half sourdough, half yeast-based loaf, and once it rises completely, I'm going to put some poppy seeds on it. Poppy seeds is the latest and greatest. So that just goes to one side. Pies are on their way. Now let's talk pea puree. I need another towel. Frosty Whips wants to know, I was looking at culinary school courses today. I'm not sure. I'm not a professional. Everything that you're seeing here, it just by, maybe, I don't know, actually, it's a good question. I would say from the perspective of, the reason why I was looking at today was for recipe development jobs, in general, just out of curiosity. I have a day job, and I don't think cooking is going to be my, the main sort of focus of my money-making endeavors, but out of curiosity, it's what does it take to develop recipes in a sort of a commercial kind of context, and having some sort of degree in relation to that makes sense. But no, I've never had any formal training. I've done night school for Indian cookery, but everything that you see here is really just, I like the history, I like reading. I've written one ebook. And it's just, I like cooking, but I like cooking because I need to eat, and I like to eat nice things, and so that's sort of what forced my hand into getting better at it, I guess. And for me, I suppose that the main thing about it is it's a creative outlet. So I don't think Boomshine's here, but like Boomshine and Dingbottom musicians, or Boomshine and a visual artist as well. I have never managed to, it all comes down to practice. I've found that cooking is kind of my creative outlet, because like writing a song or painting a picture or designing a diorama, it's all the, the ingredients that go together to form the final product. So I find that sort of, because it's visual. Sometimes it's oral, and but the difference between cooking and music and art is that you taste. There's no other sort of I guess art form that lets you actually taste the product. So I don't know if I would necessarily. Pretty sick of studying for the time being, but potentially, yeah. Depends what you want to do. Depends what you want to do in your life. That was a really hedged answer. To taste the paint. Because it's like they found, you can look in the teeth of the skeletons of Renaissance artists, and you can see that they've been, licking their paintbrush or whatever. And I do craft as well, but all just for fun, This is really just a hobby. I did receive my first Twitch payout not too long ago, but it's not going to pay the bills for very long. In fact, I already spent the money on wine. So I don't think there's not much money in food. Well, that is a bright green. If I had all the time and the money in the world, I probably would. So that needs to be a lot thicker. But yeah, depends what your story is. So what are we going to do here? We're going to just going to drain a little bit of this juice and work the rest of it back in the pot. But if I had my way, I'd absolutely like to do recipe development. There are contexts where you sort of don't necessarily think of, like recipe development for airline food, for example. There's a logistics. There's something that I find quite interesting about that. And it's like, how hard can it be to actually make nice airline food? There must be something that I'm missing, because you don't get it very often. Sushi's I couldn't, going back to what we were saying about the salmon, I've never streamed making sushi because it's the trick, and it's a very Japanese thing. It's like the complexity and the simplicity. It's like, well, yeah, I can just slice some salmon up and put it on rice, but it's not how it works. Somehow. Pea puree. So into this pea puree we're going to add some brown sugar, apparently. And salt. So a teaspoon of brown sugar. And I'm looking for, I'm going to put some pepper in as well. And in this case, we really are going to season to taste. Like, this runs the chance of being pretty insipid. But this is the thing about medieval food, like, I'm assuming that most of it wasn't particularly good. All right, guys, we're about 10 minutes away from serving it all up. The Sith. Frosty Lights is cashed in the red. Yeah, the Sith. I reckon these pies are pretty much there. I'm going to turn off the oven. Yuri's cashed in food fact, but it hasn't generated anything. Why? That's odd. Hang on. Does that do it? Normally that one works. All right, we're going to bring Academy Impossible over here. Man, there ain't many people. But, you gotta do these things. I really want to talk to these guys. Borscht is good, yeah. So I've got some very fancy beetroots happening in the garden. Next stream we will actually do a live trip out to the garden now that it's stopped raining, and we'll have a look at how things are progressing there, because yeah, I'm pretty happy with how all of that is looking. We're in peak growing season here. And yeah, that is good news. So let's taste this just before we get too carried away. That's actually quite nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's like, it's pea puree with onion, and the seasoning is good. Yeah. Easy. And they would have had this just with bread. I just want to let it reduce just a little bit more. And then we'll get the pies out and let them cool down. How am I going to get them out? I need a towel. Oh, there's one. Whoa! See, that one worked. Welcome to all the random lurkers on the Academy Impossible front. We have stolen you from New Rabington, and you've arrived in a kitchen that is preparing cuisine that is many centuries old. Middle Ages food, we think. Combination of continental, European, and English, we think. So there are our pies. And they're looking good. Frosty, that's exactly it. You know, it would have just been absolutely terrible. Nobody would have had a good time, really. And it just would have been. And it's the, you know, I like historical fiction. You know, I'm up to book 17 the old Maturin series, you know, all of this sort of very romanticized historical fiction, and then you get there and yeah, just wouldn't have been good. Health, obviously, food, money, and then war. And people forget, like now more than ever before, we live in the most peaceful time that humanity has ever existed in. And that's not to say that there aren't terrible things that are happening right now. There are, certainly. You know, injustice, inequality, and wars, both sort of domestic, tribal, and international conflict. Obviously, we see it all the time, but compare that to back then, and the frequency of it, it's like, man, this is pretty good. The amount of food that we have here, the technology, the energy, the living conditions, you know, that I have right now as a middle class person in Australia is would have been beyond the comprehension of anyone that came before us. And so it's not there's not a moment that I'm not glad. Like I wouldn't trade my position here for a king or a Roman emperor, you know, for any of this stuff that we're doing here. It's fun to look back at it, but hell no, I'd be right here right now, because I have it. I have the power and the money, and it's just far beyond anything that anyone has ever had. And it's worth remembering. I reckon I'm turning the heat off that pea puree. Yeah, it's absolutely peaceful. It's fantastic. No regrets. I'm just trying to work out how to serve this pea puree. There's a 21st century problem for you. I feel like maybe in little... Yeah, it's not... What about little dishes? We can sort of scoop it onto the pie. It does look like salsa verde. A lot of this stuff would have been served on a trencher, so like a stale bread or a large sort of slab of bread, and you would eat with a knife. I'm going to say presumably a spoon, but you would carry a knife with you, and just like a dirk or whatever would be the primary way that you would eat food. But yeah, pea puree, I'm not convinced. There's got to be a spoon in here somewhere. Cool. So Yuri, if you were looking to do something like this, you know, I've never cooked these before, and it's taken 2 hours, so there's a bit of planning involved, fine, but some guac, classic. I also got some edible flowers from the garden. Don't know if they would have done this back then, but we're doing it tonight. And then we get the dessert out. There's only one way to change that, Yuri. Wow, these have set up massively. Wow. All right. That's all it is. You just keep doing it. And then you get it wrong less and less, and then it gets better and better. And yeah, there's only one way to find out. And yeah, I would recommend giving it a go. So what did we end up with here tonight? We ended up with essentially a mushroom pie, mushroom pasty. We have the green pea pottage. Hello, Whitey. Hello. And then we have a rose pudding as well. I've just realized that I forgot to put the mustard in to the pie. These things will happen. Yeah, that's right. High stress environment. So let's try this nonsense. Yeah, off with his head. No damn mustard. Yeah, pea puree. That's good. Yep, that's good. You would have that as a side dish for any pie. Like we were saying before, like fish and chips. Yep, that's fine. Yes, Whitey. Just one moment, please. Now, in terms of pie, I'm kind of tempted to put some mustard on the side. We'll just try it like this and see. Well, you say that, Frosty, but how do you actually know? That's fine as well. It's a bit stodgy. I would blind bake the pastry next time, but that's a nice mushroom pie. Yeah. I mean, I think if you ate that as a peasant in the 1200s, I don't think you'd be complaining. I think, no, that is good. Okay. Well, Dingbottom, this plus maybe some rabbit, some fricasseed rabbit or some salmon. This is what we're looking at for the next dinner here. And now for the rose pudding. It tastes like if you took a rose and dipped it into a big pot of custard, and then just, oh, that's good as well. Pine nuts are good. The dates add a bit, yeah, wow. I'm happy. Yeah, yeah, that's right, Yuri. Like, and so I did add a bit of pepper into the peas, and I'm glad about that. I am gonna whack a bit of, yeah, to kick it up a notch and to sort of, I'm gonna put some mustard on it. So it was mustard powder. They wouldn't have had whole grain mustard like this, I don't think. But so we'll just blob some there. And blob some there. Cool. Okay, so it turns out that Middle Ages food can be good. I'm happy with it. What doesn't concern you, Frosty? No, like just picture it as like a creamy. Cool. Sweet. Well, thanks everyone who came along. Thanks to all the new people as well. This has been good fun. We do this generally twice a week. It's not always historical. It's generally just whatever the hell I feel like, to be honest. But yeah, it's been good fun. We'll take care. Yeah, thanks, Yuri. We're going to raid across to V now. So she was the one who inspired me to get into streaming cooking. She doesn't really do that much now, but she's featuring in a Disney series that is released on the 15th, where they create crazy desserts, and it's like a cooking competition show, I suppose. And so she is in one of the teams in that. So we're going to raid across to her. But yeah, if you haven't followed, make sure you do. If you haven't joined the Discord, make sure you do. There'll be this recipe and more there. We're going to go and eat this now. And yeah, we'll take it easy. So thanks for watching. And for the first time in a very long time, I'll actually remember to raid. Catch you guys soon. Bye for now.